Hello, YouTubers. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown, and I'm back in the studio this morning with Lee. And we've also got some special guests, including we got the man in the house here this morning. So hang in there. We'll tell you why. Don't go away. And now means right now. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
And I'm Lee
Guess
Barrows.
where I'm coming from?
Yes.
I'm right here in the studio.
We're so happy to have you
I'm
in
not
here.
in the bunker.
I know it. It's great.
It's so good to be in here this morning. And lots been going on while I was gone, but I kind of stayed in touch with it. Don't know how long I'll be here.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I could get up and fall down. Last time I was in here, I
No,
was
my
here 20
gosh.
minutes.
Please don't scare me. It's twice you've done that to us. We can't handle it anymore.
And did a little bit of a bailout. But anyway, I'm back and I'm feeling a whole lot more better.
I'm telling you, look great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I must have looked pretty bad before.
No, you didn't. And
Uh,
but I'm trying to give you a compliment.
I appreciate it.
You have done so well at your recovery.
Yeah, working
Still
on it.
recovering.
Yeah, and I talked to one of the docs the other day, and they
Yes.
said, "Oh, this could take you a year to get back." What?
A year. Well, I
I
can
got things to
understand
do.
that. I mean, when they crack you up and stop your heart, yeah,
Well, they did, but they put it back together.
I know, but still.
Well, I hope they got them all in the right places. Gonna
you
find
you
out
you
Friday.
may be a she now. Did you know that? Did you have well you said if they have to put it back in the right places. What if they didn't?
I got to introduce him to some friends of mine.
He could be singing higher these days. We
I
don't
could
know.
be taking them offshore. That water is deep,
Oh,
and there's
yes.
hungry critters out there.
He loves to threaten boat rides.
Evidence disposal team, and we have a. I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Yeah, we would get ourselves in trouble
we got the
already.
man in the house.
We're gonna be sitting
this
here with those
morning.
bracelets on.
Well, and I probably got some keys around me somewhere.
I lost my key. I need another one.
I didn't have a key ever.
You know, because this. Well, I'm not going to go there. Okay.
And there were two different styles way back when that actually required two different keys to get in them.
Oh no,
Uh-huh.
the pair that I used
And
to
then
have.
there were another style that was the more fancy style in those
Right.
days that required a different one. But I
Right.
always carried the two normal ones.
I mean, I've had that one key on my key ring for like 30 years, and I've lost it.
What'd you do with the cuffs?
I still have
I
them.
would secure those somewhere.
They're up in the closet. Yes, I mean, it's been years since I've had them, wore them.
Let
but
me ask you this. No, I
No.
better not.
no, I know. I almost said something earlier too, and I'm trying to keep it nice.
Sergeant Tim Sawyer's in the house this morning. Good
Yes,
morning,
he
sir.
is.
How are
Good
you?
morning.
Good morning, guys.
I appreciate you coming in. We appreciate you being in here
Yes,
this morning.
it's-
Glad Lee got this all set up.
Yeah, it's a tradition. And Rayford is saying it's a tradition every year to have someone from Jacksonville Public Safety to come on and at this time of the year to discuss what you're going to discuss with us all.
Yeah, even way back when I was there were issues around Christmas time, and because some of the low life scumbuckets and less polite terms of individuals seem to come out and want to prey on the good people of Jacksonville.
Absolutely. Now's that time of year.
It is. Yeah. Well, welcome to my world. But Jacksonville PD for the last bunch of years since I've been back in the area, they've been working parking lots and they've been very active. And I dare say there's probably been more crime prevented by mere presence and the fear of presence, that not presence as in gifts, of your presence, than anything else.
Yes. So now we do our holiday task force. That task force is in all of our big shopping centers. Excuse me, all of our big shopping centers during the peak hours of the day, and we're just patrolling the areas and making sure that you guys are safe while you're shopping for your Christmas presents and all your gifts.
Help me out here. I'm sitting in a parking lot and I'm in my car and I'm looking at my stuff and I'm deciding what I'm going to go in and buy. And I see a guy kind of walking along in between alleys or rows of cars and he's reaching down there and then checking the doorknob. Is that kind of a common thing before a thief finds an open door?
So it is real common. So what we call that is just the door pickers. So they'll go through the parking lots. They'll see what cars are unlocked because those are the easy preys, and they'll open up your car
They
and
don't
see what's
carry
in there.
bricks and break windows anymore.
They sure don't, because the common person thinks they're safe, so they'll leave their car unlocked and they find out they're not.
Oh, well, they get excited sometimes, perhaps, and just walk through, and all of a sudden, whoops! I thought I left those gifts in the back seat.
Mhm.
Well, you did, and somebody's thanking you for it.
Yes.
Let's just do a few safety points here. You're going shopping. You're excited. You got a bunch of money. You got some credit cards. You go from store to store to store to store, and you bring back your loot to your car quite often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the worst place to put it?
In the back of a truck.
Oh my
100%.
gosh.
Oh my God! I hadn't even.
Are
thought
you
about
kidding
that.
me?
And they do it
Oh
in the
my
bags.
Gosh.
So if you have a trunk, an SUV, something like that, put it in the back, cover it up with a blanket.
Mhm.
So out of sight, out of mind is what we like to say. If they don't see it, they don't know it's there.
And that's a good suggestion. Just put a blanket in your back seat,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that way you
Cargo
have
blanket's
it.
always good to have,
Right.
because that just looks like a normal, not something you're going to have.
I've done that before,
Absolutely.
carried a blanket with me. But now with the tinted windows, it's kind of
Mhm.
hard really for anybody to see in unless they climb up on the hood of the truck and look in through that way.
Mhm.
Well, you never can tell what these clowns will do, but the
True.
easiest victims are those with the doors that are unlocked. And and I understand that you get out, you hit your clicker, you hit the wrong button, and it unlocks it instead of locks it,
Yes, happens all the
or you
time.
hit it a second time and it unlocks it. There's just so much that happens there. Bad guys are not real smart.
Right.
No.
They don't have to be.
Yep. Dumb crooks keep us in business.
Yeah. They're the easy ones to generally get hold of. But there are so many. There are not but so many Jacksonville PD guys, all those deputies, and all those you folks out there running around the county. Not but so many of you.
Hmm. Yes, we so in our holiday task forces, all the guys that are coming in that are off. So we have our regular shift, and then you got your extra duty guys coming in to protect the shopping centers and the malls and stuff.
Are any of them wearing like normal clothes?
So we used to do that, but right now it's all we want
All
deterrence.
uniforms?
So we want
Mhm.
all uniforms.
Okay.
Because 9 times out of 10, when you see that marked car, marked police officer, it's a kind of a deterrent.
Yeah,
A good
I
one.
I would think so. But hopefully, the more presents that you have, the more presents that people will be able to take home with them. Put
Yes.
under the tree. After Christmas time, something I used to warn folks about back in the day. You go by yourself, or you get one for Christmas, and you put it under the tree, and it's a really nice TV set. One of those $4,000.
65-inch
Yeah, 65
LED.
inch, whatever it is. You put it under the tree, and then you go off to Granny's for Christmas, and you put your big old box outside.
Yes. So that happens all the time in the
Ding,
city.
Ding, ding.
Yes. We tell everybody break your boxes down and
Right.
burn them out back or get rid of them at the dump. Don't leave them outside.
Or wait till you get back at least.
Mhm.
Yeah,
When
I
you're
cut
at
mine
home.
into little pieces
Cut
and
it
put in
into
a
little
recycle
pieces.
bin.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Lots of little things like that. Drugs play a lot in these little break-ins and cars and stuff like that.
So it's an epidemic right now, as everybody knows. We just you can't get on top of it. It's basically killing our young, our old. It doesn't it's just a part right now that we have to deal with, and the side of it of law enforcement where we're arresting them, putting them in jail, and done with them. That's over now. We've got so many programs to help them out. It's just whether they're willing to accept those programs. So it's no longer we're arresting you, taking you to jail, and we don't never see you anymore. We're trying to get you in those programs. We've got so many entities. Like right now, we've hired a drug counselor at our department. So if somebody gets arrested and they're eligible for this program, it's called the LEADS program. She makes contact with them and sees them through the whole program. So it's
How many of those are willing to say, okay, I need help?
I would say 1 out of 5.
Okay. And 1 out of 5 says, I need help. And then in a year, where's that one?
So
How many of them are still kicking?
So they're good to go. Once our drug counselor lady, Miss Perkins, she'll see them through. And some of them fall through the cracks, of course, but that 1 out of 5 that gets it through the program, they'll turn their life around, and that's what we hope to see.
Well, that's better than the recidivism rate for the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
In case you didn't know it, that's about 80 or 90% coming back.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And those are the ones that get caught.
Right.
Not all of them get caught.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of which, these guys that are breaking into cars and they're, you know who they are.
Mm-hmm. So
you can pick them out of a crowd.
Absolutely. And we have our regulars. I mean, just like any other business, you have your regulars. So that's our patrol guys. They get to know them. That way when they see them doing something they ain't supposed to do, and they know what areas they're in. I mean, they're doing a great job.
When you see that thing in the newspaper, or you hear it on TV and the news report, it says, and John Jones was known to police or known to law enforcement. There's a clue there, right?
Right. Absolutely. That means we dealt with them several times.
Mm.
And over Christmas vacation, all of our kids from schools will be out. So keeping them busy, hopefully our parents will keep them busy and out of trouble. But then you got that element to the juveniles that
Yes.
commit crimes. So our SROs, the school resource officers, do a great job, a phenomenal job getting to know those kids and making rapports with them. And if God forbid they do break the law, we identify them fairly quickly.
Well, that brings up a good point too. SROs, once school is out for Christmas, they don't have a whole lot to be doing around the school system, right?
Right. Yep. They
You find other jobs for them.
Absolutely. Those will be our task force guys. Those will be our fill-in guys for patrol when they're short. So they'll have a lot of duties to do.
Oh, that's always good. If you had some advice, scale of the top 5 things to do as a citizen.
top 5 things to do is always be aware of your surroundings. I can't say that enough. Don't pay attention to your cell phone when you're walking around. Keep your keys in your hand when you're walking to your car. Like I said earlier, hide your gifts, make them unseeable. So cover them up with blankets, put them in the trunk. And just like I said, be aware of your surroundings is your biggest. Lock your doors. I say shop in groups.
Yes.
It's safe in groups. So those are my top 5.
I have walked through shopping like big box stores from time to time. I try not to do that a whole lot these days because that's just one of those things for me. But when I do walk through it, and over the decades that I've walked through, there never ever fails. I find a lady
Mm-hmm.
shopping with her little cart, got stuff in the cart, and she's down the aisle and her purse is in that cart.
That's right. I knew you were going
Every
I'm
there.
like, really?
Yes. They're just
And as often as not, it's open so they can reach in a hurry to grab their own
Oh,
wallet
I
or
have
do
seen
this.
it. Oh, yes.
I'm like, really?
and remember, criminals most of the time work in pairs
And they
or
stake you
groups.
out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if-
Distract her while
And
the
if,
other
I
one.
was going to say, if you ever are approached by somebody, hey, do you know where I can find?
That's right. Slide on back to your purse because
Yeah,
they're
better
probably
believe
gonna,
it.
they're probably
Hold on
hand
to
in
it.
your purse.
Hold on to it real tight.
Yep.
Well, I'd never walk away from mine anyway. I mean,
Mhm.
but I usually put mine like in the bottom of the shopping cart and then put stuff on top of it. And then if I'm just buying a few things, I'll take the child's seatbelt that's on the cart and I'll wind it through my purse. And, but I never walk away from it. Never.
I never walk away from mine either. But that's beside the point. But guys are very susceptible as well. I mean, they carry their wallets. They got a whole pocket full of cash, or they
Right.
got this, or they got that. And there used to be professional pickpockets, but these guys still exist, but not to the degree they used to. But that's because they don't have to be as smart as they used to be.
They don't. They don't have to be as talented as he used to be.
No,
That's right.
We make it just super easy for them.
Yeah, some people make it so easy for them.
Guys, when they carry a wallet, we all carry our wallets in either the left or right hip pocket, generally, and
Yes, sir.
sometimes they're bulging, and sometimes easy enough to slip out. Right?
Yes.
That's not the best place to carry it when you're in a crowd.
Right. Front pocket always. And also too, I say carry a small amount of cash in your front pocket, and if somebody tries to rob you, throw them the cash. Always give up the
That's
cash.
a good idea, right?
Always give up the cash. That's all they want is cash.
Yeah, if they try to rob you, what we used to tell folks is just throw the wallet down and let
That too.
everything scatter, and
Yep.
then you can get away while they're trying to pick it up. Because
That's
what they're after is what the contents are.
That's
They
it.
don't,
Another good
they don't care
point.
about you.
Yep. They don't.
Just throw that mess away.
Yep.
Anyway,
Well, we women have special hiding places we can put our cash. So not in our
such as
pockets.
what?
Like in our shirts, I'm going to
Right.
say, and we can put them there and and instead of putting them in the purse.
Okay.
If you're going to have a big amount of cash, hide it on you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to do a quick weather, and then if you've got a question, if you got an observation, if you've experienced the pleasures of some of the lowest forms of life on Earth, feel free to share them with us when we come back, and you can lie about your name. How
Yeah,
about that?
there you go.
There you go.
910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. You're live in local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1 and 1120 AM, WSME. And we're back, Tideline Marine, right here in Jacksonville, your sponsor of the Marine Forecast each and every day at this time. Tideline Marine, you got some specials going on right now. I tell you what, Christmas is coming. Some people are looking for gifts for Christmas, and there are a couple of little things down there that are really neat. Look at that, David. Look at this little devices. That's just cute. That's
Well, he's a
it's
fisherman.
$11. Yeah,
He would like those.
David Frinkman, the Lighthouse Guardian. These are small little deals that you can buy. Have it on give it to somebody. If you know a fisherman, a boater. These are some cool little gifts to have. North Carolina State Wolfpack Golf Wood Art.
Mm,
I like that too.
yes.
So I'm a state fan.
Except
So
I'm a UNC fan.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Oh well, can't be everything.
We'll beat you in a heartbeat.
Down, you also, if you're looking for a new motor to repower, if you need something new for that old boat, Tideline Marine's got a bunch of Mercuries in stock right now. So if they don't have the one that you need, you might get smart and place the order with George or Elise. Do it right away, because some of the special orders are months away, but it'll be here in time for the next spring season. So if you're needing a new motor, or just, guys don't have to need it. Guys just have to want it. And if it comes to boats and stuff like that, that's the way it works. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Winds out of the north offshore today, 15 to 20 with gusts to 25, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Seas don't. 5 to 7, except 2 to 3 near shore. Dominant period 8 seconds. Sounds and rivers will be choppy. Tomorrow, northerly winds about 10 knots coming down. Seas dropping also 4 to 6. If you're going to be fishing close to shore, I'm not really sure right now what's out there on the beach, but seas only 2 feet near shore. Dominant period 8 seconds. Trying to get through the inlet should be okay. Adjacent sounds and rivers will have only a light chop. Thursday, southeasterly winds 15 to 20, becoming southerly 20 to 25 in the afternoon. Seas 4 to 6. Building. You know how tall that is right there? 9 feet.
Oh,
That's where the seas are going to go up to on Thursday. So be careful. Near shore, 3 to 5 footers, becoming 5 to 7 in the afternoon. Sounds and rivers choppy, becoming rough in the afternoon.
Rough.
That's for you, Kelly.
that's right. And today it's going to be sunny with a high near 50, north wind 5 to 8 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 29 and a light north wind. Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 54 and a light north wind. Wednesday night, rain likely, mainly after 1 a.m., cloudy with a low around 44. Chance of rain is at 60%. And Thursday, showers with thunderstorms possible after 1 p.m., high near 67, east wind 7 to 13 miles per hour. Winds could gust as high as 21. Chance of rain, definitely 100%.
Hang in there, because coming up in about 5 minutes or so, we've got Dorothy Royal from Surf City Guns and Ammo, which is now located in Holly Ridge.
Right.
She's going to talk to us about a new regulation that she got wind of and
Not
got
liking
copies
it.
of, and it's like,
Not liking it.
This brings up all sorts of memories from the 1960s, and I'm like, it did not work then. It ain't going to work now.
Right.
And I'm not sure what they're thinking, but we're going to talk about some problems. If you want to buy a bullet,
I
get
need
your
to-
pen ready,
I
because
need
you
to
will
go
have
buy
to
some
sign
more.
some stuff.
I need to go keep buying some ammo, like maybe a couple boxes here and
Yeah.
there, till this new law
Our
comes
guest
out.
right now, if you want to ask him a question, Sergeant Tim.
Sawyer.
I was going to.
Yeah, oh
make
yeah.
sure
I
you
was
had
just like, why are you
Look
looking
at
at me?
I
I was
knew
like, what are you doing?
because I knew you had it wrong earlier, so you had a lapse of memory earlier.
No,
Sergeant
it's
Tim
because
Sawyer,
of you.
Jacksonville PD, and talking about the special task force that you're off and running already, right?
Yes, sir. It happens a day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I
Right.
thought that's the way it worked. We used to. So anyway, that's good. Have any stories to tell of the clowns out there? Have you nailed any yet?
Well, every day somebody steals.
Oh, do tell us some
Yes,
stories.
every day. Our Walmarts. If we could take our citizens in the Walmart
Wow.
and show them the security and surveillance video footage that they have, you wouldn't steal from Walmart. You just can't get by them.
They got it everywhere.
They got it everywhere, and I'm
In
telling
the
you,
parking lots too.
in the
Mike.
parking lots,
Yeah.
the TVs they just have cameras everywhere. Don't
So-
try it.
Yeah, well, Maybe you ought to try it somewhere else, like about 20 miles offshore.
Right.
Go steal some fish.
That's
I
right.
know some guys that'll get you when you come through the inlet. Go ahead and try it out.
That's
Let
right.
me know how it works out for you. So I'm glad there's a lot of surveillance. It's a shame that it has to cost you and me and every other shopper a lot of money for Walmart's to put in all the surveillance.
Yes.
But it's probably a cheaper for us for them to do that than for them to continue raising prices just to
Absolutely.
pay for their losses. If you think you're stealing from Walmart, folks, no. You're driving up my price for stuff at Walmart.
For milk.
Right.
For anything.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know what? I'm really tired. The government steals enough from me. They do it
Well, here we
because they
go.
can do it, and it's legal for them to do it. But I'm just tired of other people stealing from me.
That's right.
Absolutely. I tell you, no, I very seldom go to Walmart, but when I do, some of the stuff I see, some of the people in there, whoa.
Yeah, well, there's those too, but the Walmartians and whatever.
Yeah, the Walmartians. True.
Hey, we've all
I
seen
just
the
want to
pictures.
know, when is the employee Christmas party for the self-checkout?
I'm going to.
For the self checkout.
Oh,
Mhm.
everything is self-checkout now. So
Uh-huh.
when's our party? When's our employee Christmas party?
We could
Raven's
all
gotta
be
think
there at
about
the
it.
same time.
How about just training?
I know. I'm going to get a blue vest, and every time I go into Walmart to check out, I'm going to put it on.
I just, some of those self checkout lines, I like them because I know how to do them.
Right.
The problem is when you get behind somebody that is clueless.
Oh, yes. Well, it took me a while to train myself, but the worst part is when you've got a cart full of groceries
Uh-huh.
and one can at a time, and then you've got to try to balance. You're taking it out of the cart, you're trying to stack it up over here on the floor and on the counter, and wait
Yes.
until your cart's empty enough you could put it over there. And those employees are just watching you every second,
Make
which
sure
is,
you
I'm
didn't
like,
steal a
stop
can, right?
watching me.
That's right.
Right.
What bugged me the first time I did it was I was going through ringing up like a dozen cans of something. Whatever it
Right.
was. Ding, 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 ding. And I did 13 instead of 12. I said,
Oh.
whoa. How do I get this sucker off of here?
Right.
That's what the training I was telling you about. How do we take
Yeah.
our own stuff off?
I had to get trained to look up onions because when you go to look up item and it goes to
Uh-huh.
produce, it doesn't give you
I don't buy
options on
those
the
things
onions.
if I don't know how to. If it doesn't have that barcode in it.
I mean, you've got sweet onions, you've got red
Uh-huh.
onions, you've
How
got
do you pick?
whatever,
How do
right?
you
And
pick
I'm
what it
like,
is?
well, it just says onions,
And in
but
the summertime, I'll admit, Sam's, I like their watermelons. Sometimes
right.
they got some really good watermelons. If you know how to pick a watermelon, and I love watermelons, but you go find the right watermelon, and it doesn't have the sticker on it. What do you do now?
Well, then you're going to have to push that help button, I guess.
Oh, no.
I
I
don't know.
reach down, take one of the stickers
No,
off
you
another
can't do
watermelon and put
that.
it on there.
Oh my
I'll leave
gosh.
that problem for someone else.
You can't do
Now,
that.
come on, tell me nobody else does that.
I
I
was gonna
mean, if
say,
they're
I
all
knew
the
it was
same
coming.
price, maybe, but you've got people
I'm-
that get arrested for
I'm
changing stickers,
I'm not
right?
changing the stickers. I'm just using it one off another watermelon.
Or
the
are they all
same
the
box.
same price?
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe you can get away with that, but still, man, y'all didn't hear that. Oh my goodness.
Sergeant, thank you for coming in this morning. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely,
You're
I
guys.
welcome.
enjoyed it. Yes.
You're out and about at any time, 07 to 09 weekdays. You can stop by at any time.
Yes.
I love it. Thanks for
Yeah.
the invite, guys, and I had a
Yeah.
great time.
Oh, we
same
enjoyed
here.
it
Thanks for
too.
what you're doing. Spread that
Yes.
word to the task force. We got your back. So
That's right.
We really appreciate you taking care of business for us.
Absolutely. You guys have a great day.
Sergeant,
You
take
too.
care, sir. Be
Thank
safe.
you, sir.
Ms. Royal, how are you?
I'm very good. Nice and bundled up on this very chilly morning.
Speaking of which, where did this come from? There was ice on my on my
Mine
chauffeur's windshield
too.
this morning.
I sprayed it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but it feels like it's winter now.
It officially is winter when you get ice on the windshields at this time of year. So how are things down there in Holly Ridge?
Well, things are good. We have some decorations up in town, and I had a little Christmas party for the beginning of the season last week, and as well as several other festivities all over the area.
That's good.
But it's going good. It's going good.
Now, you sent me some information last week about something that was kind of disturbing. Took me back to the 1960s after the big gun scare when Kennedy got shot, and they came down on trying to regulate every gun to make it impossible to get guns by mail. Actually, that was the big deal at that time. Couldn't buy a gun online. Well, online they didn't have, but you couldn't order one from a magazine and have it shipped to you by the post office. That wasn't going to happen anymore. And then they also came out with a thing, and I'm trying to figure out why. You go to your friendly sporting goods store, maybe somebody that's not a federal firearms licensed dealer, and you had to give them your driver's license in North Carolina to be able to buy a box of bullets. Did you know that?
I did not, but that doesn't surprise me.
That's how I got to memorize my driver's license. I didn't have to show it to them. I memorized my driver's license because I was buying that bulk of ammo, one box at a time. But I was shooting a lot. So there you go. Now we got something else that's even more preposterous.
Yes, and I think this is a common bit of information out there that everybody knows. We already have enough laws and rules in effect that if they're followed correctly, the people who aren't supposed to have firearms in most cases will be prevented from legally buying them.
Yep.
Those rules and laws are already there. If every one of these mass shootings that we've seen, you find out that somebody received a phone call that this same person had threatened their own family, they were going to kill their neighbors, and at the very last minute, all the charges are dropped, or for some reason the case is sealed, and that's never put on their record. So then they walk into a gun store, they fill out the form. They've never been convicted legally of a felony. They have no marks on their record because the charges were dropped, so they're allowed to buy a gun. Had the system worked correctly, they wouldn't have been able to legally buy a firearm. And in most cases, that terrible, terrible event may have been averted. We know those things are there. So unfortunately, what most things happen with the government is they say, well, even though those things are there, let's make it really messed up for the law-abiding. And so the other day I received an email, as did I hope every other FFL out there, that says, hey, we're going to change the federal firearm purchasing form again, which is a form everybody across the country uses.
And hates.
And we're going to we're going to add a lot more really strange questions like, do you live in the city limits of the town you live in? What does that matter?
Gracious.
And if you take Holly Ridge for an example, Holly Ridge's zip code covers Holly Ridge, Surf City, and Topsail Beach, which is ridiculous in its sense. 2 counties, 3 towns. The average person has no idea where the city limits for Holly Ridge is. And they usually don't learn that unless they go to vote, and then they learn you don't live in the city limits. It's only 1.5 miles squared. So to the average person, they wouldn't have that answer correct on the form, which again is either a misdemeanor or a felony if you incorrectly answer a question. They also want us to tell the ATF if somebody brings in a gun that the person has personally made. Now, this is very confusing because the average person can buy parts and assemble a firearm. In one sense, ATF considers the fact that you made a firearm. But when you bring it in, say you want to sell it or ship it or whatever, and we list it, it's listed based on the name of the manufacturer on the receiver that has the serial number. Whether it's Smith & Wesson or Daniel Defense or Palmetto State, it doesn't matter. It's already stamped with the serial number. What they want us to do now is if you say to me, I built myself a gun, and it doesn't show a standard serial number listing, that I'm supposed to stamp my FFL onto a firearm that's mostly made out of metal. This is not the policy. This is not how serial numbers are assigned. So this is a very strange thing. And plus they have a whole new title for it now if it's a privately made firearm. My problem with that is apparently they've never realized that people who make guns or have ghost guns with no serial numbers, they don't bring them into gun dealers. They're not selling them to us or transferring them through us. So the odds are we're never, ever going to see a firearm without a serial number unless it's an older gun, like you're talking about before, where you could buy rifles at the hardware store. Sure. We see those all the time. The old Sears ones never had serial numbers. But they're asking for things for us to do that are beyond what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for just a second. A lot of people will buy these buy guns, and They have a machine shop. They set up
Mhm.
things to. I've got a friend. He's building, and he has been for the last 3 years. A, a 1911 type of 45, and
Mhm.
he does it not because it's a cheap thing to do. No, it's a cost a fortune because this is a very custom made, finely tuned precision,
Mhm.
not the kind of gun you're going to go in and rob someplace with. This is built as a work of art, and so he can shoot
Mhm.
targets with it. It's
Mhm.
not an anti-personnel weapon.
Correct.
Why are these people? This is the last gun you should be having to concern yourself with regulating.
Mhm.
I, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, I think the problem is that some of these politicians who create these new rules are only listening to rumors. They're not looking at facts. They're hearing that everybody in America has a 3D printer. They're out there making guns out of plastic. I've never seen a 3D printed lower.
No,
I remember being told that everybody in America is going to be making them in their home. I've never seen one. I've never had anyone tell me they've made one. So, but again, even if you did make yourself one for whatever reason, the odds are you're never going to bring it into my shop. You're not going to sell me the gun. You're not going to have me ship the gun, which would require me to, list the serial number and everything else for the receiving FFL. So to make this a whole new thing and change the form for that, which could be 1/100th of a percent, doesn't make any sense.
now
The other
also
thing that concerns,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I was going to say the other thing that concerns me is they're adding ammunition to some of these questions.
Ouch.
What are there? There are 3 states, I think, that require a license to buy ammo. So because of 6%, they're requiring us to change an entire federal form. And it doesn't make sense. And normally what they'll say is, here's a form we're thinking about putting out. We're going to ask you for your opinion as an FFL. In 60 days, we'll evaluate all the opinions. We'll make appropriate changes. And then in 90 days, we'll resubmit it for your review. And then we'll make it official. That's not what they're doing with this one. They're saying, as of today, you have to use this new form, but it's not going to become mandatory till April 1st.
So
Well,
let me
you're not,
let
the
me do it
government,
this way. You are an FFL. That means a federal firearms licensed dealer. Okay, that's what you
right.
are. You ATF has approved you. They've been through your background checks and you've applied and yada 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 yada. Not everybody can get one.
Mm-hmm.
Then you sell bullets. You sell
Mm-hmm.
guns.
Mm-hmm.
You sell all sorts
Mm-hmm.
of cool stuff. How?
Yes.
What about the corner sporting goods store that sells fishing tackle that can actually legally sell shotgun shells? They're not
I
FFL.
don't, they're not. You don't have to have any license to sell ammunition.
Right. How is that going to be regulated? And what is the purpose of it? Is there anything in there except to make it more difficult for gun owners?
There's nothing in it other than to make it more difficult for gun owners. And of course, the biggest thing that they came out with a few months ago, which they're going to start putting into real effect, is if you're 18, 19, or 20 years old and you're buying a long gun for hunting or target shooting or whatever, you will automatically get a 10-day delay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to ask your home address so that they can call supposedly the local police in your town. Like, the local police have time for this, so they can do an extensive background check over to make sure there's no red flags on your background check. And again, that goes back to the fact that if there was red flags and they were correctly applied, none of that would be necessary. ATF would already have that information for the next background check.
I would strongly recommend that they make that and call the local police as number 2 item. Call the school system number 1.
Sure. Sure, but then you have privacy rules.
Oh, no,
So
no,
the
no.
average school system is not equipped to talk to these
All
people.
of those can go out the window. Just do away with the privacy rules. Do away with our rights.
Agreed.
They want to do away with
Sure.
Second Amendment rights. Do away with privacy rights.
Absolutely. Well, listen, the buyer can already tell me they're non-binary. I don't have the right to ask them for a gender, which makes it no sense at all. So you're making it harder to identify these people in one sense and making it harder for law abiding to abide by the rules.
Uh-huh.
it's absolutely backward.
Well, I
And
can
I don't.
see a lot of these cases. For identification purposes, drop your drawers.
Oh my!
What else can you do?
Seriously.
You know,
Phew.
I mean, can you imagine an APB out there for somebody named Pat Smith who's non-binary? You can't tell a person's color anymore. You can't say anything about a person anymore. That's all the information you get. It's like, oh, that works.
Yeah, the only thing you can say is they're not Latino or Hispanic. I think that's one of the questions they ask these days, and you have to fill that out. You can
You
put
have
out there,
to fill
I'm
it
white,
out.
but you also have to say I'm not Hispanic or if you are not Hispanic or Latino, I think it is.
Yes.
On so many
Yes.
forms. Really?
Yes. And I brought that comment up to you. They also changed that as well. That if you are born in any of those Latino countries from now on, they're considering you Latino, even though we brought up the question, what if you're an American white person on a military base in, say, Cuba, and your baby is born there?
Whoops.
That shouldn't make that your baby Latino if you're not Latino.
Yeah.
So and that doesn't make any sense to me anyway. That whole Latino thing on the form doesn't make sense. But I'd rather know, do you hate your neighbor? Are you concerned with rage? Are you currently threatening somebody's life? Those are important questions they should be asking on these forms that can eliminate me selling them a gun.
Yep.
Not are you Latino heritage? That makes no difference to me whatsoever. That's just pigeonholing buyers.
That reminds me of the 1800s when they could not sell. It was a self-imposed deal. You cannot sell firearms to American natives, Indians in those days. You can't sell whiskey to them, firewater. It drives them crazy.
Yeah.
Remember those? Those are real deals, y'all.
Yeah.
And why are we trying to get back to those days? Those were not good days.
Those were not. And you would think because of those past lessons learned that we would know better, but we don't.
We didn't learn from those lessons. We forgot about them.
Not at all.
We got a new
Not at all.
We got a new cycle of idiots in charge.
We do. But the whole thing with the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, these people could be active military.
Yeah.
And they're being told, we don't trust you enough to sell you a rifle or a shotgun to go hunting with. We're going to delay this 10 days.
But here, take this M16 out there and load that sucker up full and go fully automatic. Here's your saw and go out there and have some fun with it.
That's right.
Go defend our nation and risk your body.
Yep.
But no, we're not going to trust you to go buy a 22 so you can go out blinking for Christmas time. Nah, that's not going to happen. Who is in charge
Sad,
in
but true.
Washington? Not me. Somehow,
Bumbling
idiots. Got by me.
Idiots.
Idiots.
Dorothy, it's great talking with you.
Yes, it
Yeah,
certainly
same
is.
here. Same here.
Any good
Same here.
specials
Ready
for
for it.
Christmas?
Oh, we've got tons. We've got
Okay.
tons. Unfortunately, in this day and age of the new economy where everything else is more expensive, firearms are not more expensive. In fact, in a lot of cases, they're less expensive. So we have a lot of big specials on.
Don't tell everybody. We'll be down.
Hey, I think I
But
sent
we
you
have-
some
we
information
have a lot
about
of
a particular one. It's a 22 Magnum semi-automatic. I think is it made by Keltec? 30-round magazine.
The PMR 30.
I think that's
30
it.
round?
Yeah,
A
but
22?
22 Magnum.
22 Magnum.
And
They also make it in 22 long rifles.
It's very lightweight
Very light.
and 30-round magazine.
To check that one out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Absolutely.
Sound like a deal to me. I got a concealed carry permit. I can buy one of them.
So do I.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. And cheaper to shoot, too.
Oh, most definitely.
Dorothy, again, thank you. Anything else great going on?
Nope, that's it for now. One little weird controversy at a time, but that should do it.
Oh, goodness.
The way it works. You take care.
That's all right.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thanks.
Best
Bye,
of the
guys.
family. Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you.
Same here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're live and local, Real Talk Freedom, 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. A few commercials, and we'll be right back. Hey, if you ever get a chance to go to the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, that's in Raleigh, the first thing that might catch your eye is one of the most impressive whale skeleton collections on display in the entire United States of America.
Wow.
Bones from their signature sperm whale named Trouble could be soon overshadowed by a massive sunfish that recently washed ashore along the Carolina coastline. Guess where? 450-pound sharp-tailed walla or mola sunfish uncovered at Seaview Pier at North Topsail Beach on November 30th
Wow.
after a local resident called the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries. The mola is just one of 5 species of sunfish in the entire world. It measured over 6 feet 8 inches from fin to fin. The curator of ichthyology probably screwed that one up at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. That's the fish study.
Right.
And a research assistant professor at North Carolina State University is the one who took all the measurements. It even took a horse scale at the College of Veterinary Medicine at North Carolina State to weigh this fish, 450 pounds.
Ooh.
That's a big fish. That's a huge fish. So anyway, if you're, I better take a break. You're live in local real talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM WSME. We'll be right back. It ain't Friday, but we're going to do one anyway. This one's
Oh, good.
for Kelly. Okay.
This one's for
I-
Kelly.
If you're going to be a successful carjacker,
Yes.
it might be smart to do your homework. A lot of today's cars don't use a key in the ignition to make the engine go round and round and round. In Nevada, a less than smart carjacker encountered just such a car. The victim and a friend had parked near another friend's house as they waited to go inside when two or maybe three men, they're not sure how many, got out of another car, pulled the woman out of the driver's seat and her friend out of the passenger seat. One of the less than smart crooks got in but couldn't figure out how to drive it because it was a push to start car. That means you didn't push the car.
No, you push the
That means you
button.
push a little button. Okay.
Yeah, I had one.
The victim realized the dummy had placed his gun in his lap while he tried to figure out how to start the car. Remember, she was pulled out. She was
Right.
outside. So she grabbed his gun and took off running. She told her friend, y'all haul butt too. Pretty much defeated in his attempts at being a successful carjacker, dummy number one tackled the driver. So she did what naturally comes to a person like that. She pointed her gun at him, his gun at him, and pulled the trigger.
Oh,
She took off, and idiot number two started shooting at her. Police arrived, found idiot number one dead,
oh my
a bullet in
gosh.
his head. No charges filed against the victim. The second idiot was arrested later when police saw his car on surveillance video of the area. He was, as we described earlier, well known to the popo.
Oh no.
You can't
Phew.
fix stupid, but she certainly killed one of them. In Georgia, another case of a bad guy getting his just rewards. Bad guy wearing a mask and toting a gun enters a restaurant in Warner Robins, Georgia, demanded money from an employee there. Not happy with the service, he jumps over the counter and pistol whips the worker. The worker was knocked to the floor, then began fighting the robber over the gun, finally pulling his own legally owned handgun and fired 3 rounds at the robber. 2 of the bullets hit the bad guy, a 23-year-old man who stumbled out of the restaurant. He was located by police a short distance away, taken to a hospital where he died. No charges against the employee, of course.
Well, well, well,
Hey,
well.
yo.
My goodness.
There was a big deal in court here in Onslow County yesterday. We haven't gotten to it yet. We're going to do that after the
Right.
top of the hour. I haven't read any of our Facebook responders and
Quite a
responses
bit.
yet, but and hopefully our district attorney will be. He's at a special conference. He had to drive like 6 or 8 hours to get there
Yes.
overnight, so he's there. The district attorney Ernie Lee. We got plenty of time after the top of the hour, so hopefully he'll have a chance to give us a quick call, and we'll hit the highlights of this particular trial, particular hearing yesterday. It was a notorious, infamous crime 5 years ago that just had this community completely in turmoil.
Yes.
Well, the law enforcement, a host of them, put the case together and arrested the man who has since admitted that he done it. And a lot of people are not happy with the plea deal that he was given. It's not a plea deal; it's a plea. The only deal was they took the death penalty off the table, and I'll talk about that a little bit when we come back. And do I think he deserves the death penalty? Absolutely.
Right.
There's no doubt in my mind. But legally, could they even convict him
That's
of the capital crime? And how the appeals, even if you could find a jury of 12 people who would do it, I seriously doubt if it would go beyond the appeals, the automatic appeals.
yeah. There's a whole lot of play into that.
We'll talk about that and much more when we come back. You're welcome to call in. I think we're probably going to have Mike McHugh calling in as well.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll get our district attorney, Ernie Lee, on the line in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, Fox News is next. We'll be back in about 60. You're live and local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. And we're back. Let's set the stage here very quickly. You lived through all of this, and you actually participated in the search for this little girl.
Yes.
She's barely 3 years old when she disappeared. She just turned 3.
Yes.
She only lived 2 years.
She was like just turned 3 like a month prior,
Less
I
than a
think.
month.
Less than a month prior to her
Anyway,
death.
a guy yesterday pleaded guilty in Superior Court here in Onslow County to first-degree murder, felony child abuse, inflicting serious bodily injury. That happened yesterday in Onslow Superior Court. The state was represented by both the attorney, District Attorney Ernie Lee, and Chief Assistant District Attorney Michael Malsby, both very qualified and very experienced prosecutors. The defendant, a guy named Adolphus Earl Kimry II, we know him as Earl Kimry.
Mm-hmm.
He entered the plea of guilty. And yes, in exchange for that plea of guilty, they took the death penalty phase off the table. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Imagine, let's just roll the dice here for a minute. You guys who like to go to Las Vegas and play the odds, what are the odds? 2 cases here. What are the odds that during a jury trial, there's always a possibility that one or more of the 12 people on a jury could say, I just don't see it. There is the possibility that somebody else did it and he's just taking the blame for it, or he's just not going to tell that somebody else actually killed this young lady, Mariah Woods. There is that possibility, and a distinct possibility that in the mind of one juror in a case like that could send that thing into a mistrial. Then you got to start over again.
That's
And you
right.
start over again from the wrong side of the ball field. You've got an uphill battle at that time, every time. Then let's just say that all 12 jurors said, yes, he's guilty of first-degree murder, and we recommend the death penalty or whatever, or they have a death penalty case. They don't recommend it at that time. Then they go into a sentencing phase with the same jurors, all 12 of them. Now, while they all 12 may agree that Earl Kimry killed Mariah Woods in the first degree, that doesn't make it a capital case.
Correct.
The district attorney has to present the reasons for it being a capital case. Capital meaning they're going to kill this dude if he's found guilty, or we'll discuss that in a minute, that they could sentence him to be executed. What are the circumstances? What grounds can you use? Malice aforethought, of course.
Right.
Premeditation is the biggie.
That's right.
That you intentionally took the life of this person after planning to take the life of this person. That's one of the possibilities.
And that right there is one thing they could not prove.
By his own admission, he did not do that. By Earl Kimry's own admission, this little girl, Mariah, was crying, was putting up such a fit while he was trying to get stoned that he said, well, I got to just give her something to keep her quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And he held a handkerchief over her face
With chloroform.
And she went to sleep. How long he held it there, I don't know. Did he mean to kill her? I find it very difficult to believe that he did. Personal opinion.
Right.
Was he wanton and negligent in this murder? Oh,
Absolutely.
Yes, he was. Well, that carried the death penalty. Can you convince all 12 people on that jury? It has to be a unanimous decision.
That's right.
And what if they say no? What if one says no?
Well, I know his defense was claiming that it was an accident. He didn't
Yes.
mean to kill her.
I'm sure.
So you've got to weigh
And that's
all
what
those
he said, too.
factors Yeah, you've got to weigh all those factors into it. And I know that a lot of us have expressed opinions on this, but we're using our emotions. We're not using the facts of the case. It's our emotions that are talking for us.
Absolutely.
And so many people on the post that we had put on our Facebook page yesterday were, demanding death penalty, were demanding he die. And I can understand how they
And don't get
feel.
me wrong, if I was on that jury, regardless of the set of circumstances that was presented to me based upon the information that I have here from this guilty plea and all of the facts of the case, which I have now,
Right.
all of the facts of the case, I still would have voted emotionally. Yes, sirree, Bubba.
Well, I don't know if you saw
Here's
a
your
news
needle.
clip yesterday, the judge up on the stand wiping away tears off his
Of
face.
course. How could
You
you
know,
not?
it's a horrible crime that happened. I mean, a 3-year-old baby, gone.
Never,
And
as the district attorney said yesterday, never, ever to see life in
yeah,
its fullest.
celebrate another birthday.
Celebrate, have kids, get married, have
That's right.
kids.
Go to school, have friends. Never.
Never was that going to happen. Is it going to happen now? Mariah Woods, murdered viciously.
Yes. I think the act alone, but the way he disposed of the body,
Does not carry the death penalty.
right. But I think that's what played
shows-
into so much raw emotion with people.
Yes. He stands around that trailer where he was living with the mother of Mariah Woods and 2 other kids. He was just standing around the trailer during the several days that they were looking for Mariah. I didn't have anything to do with it. I have no idea
Ugh.
where she is. I woke up in the morning and she was gone and I called 911. That part is true.
Right.
Didn't bother to initially say that he had made several trips away from that house overnight after he killed her. He made several trips away from that house.
Yes, he did.
Before 6:48 in the morning when he called 911 or 6:23, whatever it was, and officers arrived about 6:30, 6:40. Never did he once say, yeah, I drove all the way to Pender County with her body and dumped her into a creek,
In a couch cushion,
hid her.
put her
What you
body in
do
there.
after the fact just shows how mean that you are,
That's
how
right.
callous that you are. Those are not grounds to execute you. Not under North Carolina law.
I understand the emotion with a lot of people.
So do
mean,
I.
It just
I have the
disgusts
same
me.
emotion.
But you know what? I think he's going to get punished more going to prison for life than just taking a needle and be done and over with.
Well, yeah, he will, but
Neither's going to bring the little girl back.
No.
Neither's going to do that.
If you're looking for vengeance, I can understand that in this case. I can totally understand and appreciate it. I would not have a problem.
Well, had he been given the death penalty, now how long do you think it would have taken?
We'll all be dead.
Yeah.
The last death sentence that was carried out in North Carolina was in 2006. That is what?
Right.
15 plus years ago?
Yes.
17 years ago?
Samuel Flippin.
What is the likelihood of Samuel ever, well, he got it. What's the likelihood of all of the people, how many are on death row now? About 150? Probably.
I don't know.
What are the chances that 150 of them, what are the chances that one in that 150 will ever be executed? They're going to die of old age in prison, or they're going to be released from prison because they've got an incurable disease, or because they are so old and decrepit that all they're doing is lying back. How
You
many
were
in
close.
prison?
138.
Yep.
138 on death row right now in North Carolina.
Now, to me, that 138, they've been deemed to be the worst of the worstest.
And look, we're 5th amongst most of the states.
So why are we not? Because we got a bunch of lame duck, dingbat legislators that will not force this issue. We can eliminate that population on death row. If you don't want to do it for any other reason, do it for the budget.
And out of the 138, there's only 4 women. You guys are mean. 4 women.
I was sitting outside Central Prison in the 1980s when the first person was executed after the Supreme Court allowed, under certain conditions, various states to decide whether they would continue to have the death penalty. Her name was Velma Margie Barfield. She was a
Oh,
grandmother.
yes.
She killed several husbands and boyfriends and whatever. I was out there that night. I was the alternate witness for the media that night. It was a
Ooh.
very solemn evening.
Oh, I imagine.
Very solemn evening.
Whew.
But I didn't have any feelings for her. Good feelings.
Right.
I mean, I could have been one of those individuals. It could have been a family member of mine that she did.
Yeah.
I don't care that she's a woman. She was a mean, vicious,
She sure was.
deadly woman. Talk about a black widow.
Yes.
good God.
I would tell. What did you know? There's a moratorium on executions in the state of North Carolina
Yes.
because many lawsuits have been filed about the humanitarian and the
Bring-
fairness of capital punishment.
Just bring out the gas chamber. If y'all don't like the needle, you think the needle creates so much hate and discontent in a guy's body, just bring back the gas chamber.
Isn't that worse? Oh,
Yes.
sit there and choke on that gas.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
But if you want to get back to something that has been proven legal, go just drag that sucker out.
Right.
Heat it up. Let's go. If not, do like other states have done in the past. I don't know that the firing squad is legal in any state now. It could be. I don't know.
Mm.
It wasn't. Hanging was legal in Delaware not too many years ago. Did you know that? In Delaware,
I
the
didn't know
president's
that.
home. Yeah. Bring back firing squads. They're effective. They're cheap. Not a lot of prep. 6 bullets and a blank.
I know, and people were complaining that our tax dollars are paying to feed and house these inmates.
It costs a lot more money to keep a guy on death row alive than it keeps general population.
That's true. Absolutely.
So either take them off death row and put them in general population, or I got a better idea. Let dog eat dog. Put them all in the same.
Yeah, I was just reading.
Just open up death row to have only death row inmates, and they can walk amongst each other. How sleepy would you get in a situation like that? That you know everybody else in there, there are 137 other people in there that have killed, and they got away with it so far. What are they going to do? Put them on death row again? Oh, they're already there. Duh.
Wow. Here was one that was executed by the gas chamber in 1994 here in
Mhm.
North Carolina.
Mhm.
David Lawson, he's 38 years of age, and he was gas chamber. And then starting here 1998, another one, Ricky Lee Sanderson, gas chamber.
Yeah.
Wow.
It works. It's
Yeah.
effective.
Obviously.
Very effective.
I guess
Very
do
permanent.
you get your choice?
I don't know now. I don't know whether they've even got that sucker available, but they, in places where they have like the electric chair or firing squad or lethal injection, people do, the condemned gets to pick what he's going to take.
Can you just put the stuff in the food? Or like my last meal, just add it to my food and I won't know the
That's not the way it
difference. I don't know.
You
Mm.
can't guarantee that they're going to eat it or that it will be effective when you do that.
Oh yeah, somebody just sent me showing results for firing squads. Only Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Utah offer firing squad as an option to death row inmates. Since 1976, 3 people were executed by a firing squad.
First one was Gary Gilmore, 1977, I think.
Wow, you're just so smart.
76 or 77. Gary, he just dumped his pleas. He was the first person executed, as I recall, after the Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty for states that complied, and Utah complied. And Utah, Gary Gilmore chose, he killed a gas station attendant or something only a year or so earlier. And he just said, I don't want any more appeals. I done the deed. And you know what? I don't want to hang around prison for the rest of my life. So go ahead and shoot me. And they did.
Wow. I hear some electrocution. There was one, yeah, Gary Gilmore, you were right on it, 1977. The method was firing squad.
Mhm.
And then 1979, John Spinkalink, Lenore County, Leon County, electrocution.
Mhm. Ted Bundy got the chair,
Yes.
and some of the others who've been electrocuted, things went wrong. There was smoke coming from that little metal top on top of a guy's head. They got a bad fit. They didn't get a good. It's like a bad connection on an electrical circuit. If it's not a really solid connection, you're going to get smoke.
To be like, zap him again, zap him
Well,
again. Oh my gosh.
He kept getting it. He'd get it, but it just built up. There was some high resistance. He was dead.
Oh my gosh. Oh, how in the world we got on this?
District Attorney Lee, we'll get him back in here to discuss this one of these days when he's back in town. We can sit down here and have a lengthy discussion. I'm surprised none of y'all have called.
I know.
All the Facebook postings that you told me about, I have not looked at.
Oh,
any of
there
them.
was quite a few.
If,
And
if you want to, you want to weigh the merits of this case against anything else, you've got to understand. You got to do your homework. The chances of this guy walking with a second-degree murder conviction,
right. Yeah.
folks.
Then how would you feel?
Folks, a jury could return a verdict of guilty of murder in the second degree, which doesn't necessarily carry a life in prison sentence and definitely does not carry a life without benefit of parole prison sentence.
That's correct.
Would you take that chance?
That's correct. I mean,
knowing he's not going to be eliminated, knowing he's not going to be executed ever, mathematically speaking, it's not going to happen in North Carolina.
Right.
He'll die of old age.
Whew, I'll tell you, it was a tough case from the very beginning. Tough case. Very tough case. And like I say, I understand the comments, the people that were commenting, because they're commenting, their comment is their emotions that are speaking for them. And I understand that completely.
And I understand what every one of you say.
Yes.
That would be no problem. Yes, sirree. I'm on the jury. Yes, sirree. Is guilty of first-degree murder. Yes, sirree. When it comes time for the sentencing hearing, yes, sirree. I'll be the first to stand up and say, let's zap the dude.
Yes.
Do it at noon.
But it's not that easy, is it?
No. 11 other people got to agree with you.
That's right.
If you just leave it up to me, it'd be okay.
Right. Well, he's not going to have an easy time in prison. We know that. And, maybe karma will take care of that. He's in there.
I don't know how bad he is. He's a
know.
meth head.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be in prison with a lot of other meth heads, a lot of others who have done exactly the same
Right.
kind of crime. And they like, oh my. And who knows how many child killers are going to be in there. Prison ain't what it used to be.
Well, I know a lot of people wanted to see the mother go down for this too, but they had no credible evidence against her.
District attorney said that he took the guilty plea and that mama knew nothing. Mama knew nothing legally. You will never prove it.
That's right.
I don't know that she ever could be convicted of anything. I'm pretty sure she could not, based upon the evidence gathered. He did it while she was asleep. He took the body and disposed of it without her knowledge. When did she learn of it? I don't know. Probably at the same time the rest of us did. Did she suspect it? I guarantee you she suspected it.
I'm sure she
from the
did.
get-go.
I think my biggest criticism of the mama was that she allowed this man who was making meth and using drugs to live in the same residence with her children.
See,
I do find fault with
personally,
that.
I have no problem in charging her with having a house,
Like,
maintaining a house
yes,
with kids inside,
right.
while meth is being produced.
Well, it's too late to even go there with that. Too late. But yes, I know. I know she's remarried now and has another child. So
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Special kind.
Yep.
All right. We'll take a break. Let's talk about politics.
Yes, because we have some news to share
We
with
got the
everybody after the
news.
weather.
Fresh off the news block.
Yes, we have news.
Surprised?
No, not really, but I was thinking that it might go a different way,
Mhm.
and we'll discuss that when we come
will.
back.
Board of Commissioners.
That's right.
You got a new member. You're live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME, and we'll be right back. I got a report yesterday from some guys that were out speckled trout fishing, and they did
Oh.
their limit, caught their limit in about 15, 20 minutes. One guy got,
no.
in addition to some speckled trout, he got one nice redfish.
I
So,
don't like catching them so fast.
well, you can throw it back and wait for bigger ones.
Wow. I mean, you go out 15 minutes later, we're done. That's not fun.
Then it becomes catch and release. Not a
Yes.
problem. Tideline Marine's got some special sales right now on some of the lures that some of these guys are using yesterday. Mirror lure. I'm not sure if they were using the 94 MR 808, but it's on sale right now. You can get a 3-pack, $27.99, regularly $31. A single mirror lure, 94 MR 808 topwater bait. That is some of the most fun in the world. You're working that plug on the top of the water, not down below. And when a fish sees it, you're stirring up the water, and he comes down high and snatches that sucker. That's when the fight is on.
That's when the fun begins.
Yeah, this is a topwater bait that you might want to pick that up. New River, that looks like one day would do very well. $9.69 on sale right now. And one of my favorite is the little suspending twitch baits. For you guys on YouTube who can see it, throw that sucker out there and you go twitch, 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 bring it in 3 little specks, then tighten it up. Okay. Twitch, 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 and let it sink again and bring it in. On that thing, when it's dropping, if there's a speckled trout in the area, watch out, because he will have that thing.
He's like, yummy.
He's off and running. Tideline Marine, the place you can get all these lures and a lot of really good information. Stop in, talk with George, talk with Elise, stop with any of the folks in there who fish, and they know what they're talking about down there. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Winds today out of the north at 15 to 20, gust to 25. Will diminish this afternoon, 10 to 15, seas 5 to 7 this morning, 2 to 3 near shore, dominant period 8 seconds, sounds and rivers choppy. Wednesday, tomorrow, northerly winds around 10 knots, seas 4 to 6, 2 feet near shore, dominant period 8 seconds, sounds and rivers a light chop. Now, along comes the Wednesday. Southeasterly winds 15 to 20, becoming southerly 20 to 25 in the afternoon, seas 4 to 6, building, going to get more better. Way up yonder, 6 to 9 footers in the afternoon, near shore 3 to 5. They'll even get to be rough near shore, 5 to 7 in the afternoon. Sounds and rivers choppy, then becoming rough in the afternoon. Probably have some rain on Thursday as well.
And today's going to be sunny with a high near 50, north wind 5 to 8 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 29 and a light north wind. Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 54 and a light north wind. Wednesday night, rain likely mainly after 1 a.m. Cloudy with a low around 44. Chance of rain is at 60%. And Thursday, showers with thunderstorms, high near 67. East wind 7 to 13 miles an hour with gust as high as 21. Chance of rain is 100%.
And the temperature's all the way up right now to 34 degrees of the air station at New River.
30, that's all?
That's it.
It was like 33 when I left the house.
It was 32 at my house, and there was ice all over Robbie's windshield. Got to stop by and get some more of that spray today.
Oh, I've got some. I had to change the bottles because the last bottle quit working. But I keep that in a little like tool pouch I have in the back of the truck, and a couple quick squirts, and you're good to go.
Okay. Last month, the chairman of the Onslow County Board of Commissioners, been chairman for 6 years, been on the board for 12 years or more, Jack Bright, he tendered his resignation from the board for personal reasons. He said he came on the show with me and with us, health and family reasons. He's got a brand new grandchild.
Yes, he does.
He
likes proud of that
likes
baby.
His family, and this new grandchild is named after him.
So special.
So Jack said with some upcoming issues in the hospital and some surgical stuff that's got to be done. Let me tell you about that. That is all consuming. This job here is not all consuming.
Right.
That we do. It's not all. We got other things to do. But for a couple hours a day, imagine that being 14, 16 hours a day, what we do in here.
That's
And that's
tough.
kind of what a county commissioner does.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether they're on duty, so to speak. Doesn't matter whether they're in a meeting or not. I don't know of any of those county commissioners that are not, uh, I don't want to call it bugged, but are not, people are not reaching out to them. And I know that Jack, I know that Robin, I know that Paul, Royce gets it. I know all of these folks get it. The new chairman, Tim Foster, if he hasn't gotten it yet, he's gonna get
Oh,
it.
he's going to get it.
Be careful what you wish for. And got a new commissioner on there, Lisa Carpenter. I don't know whether she's been inundated yet or not. And Walter Scott, he's been there for a couple of years. So I know that all of these folks are overworked when it comes to that county commission job. And it
Yeah.
is a job.
It is a
Don't
job.
make no mistake about it. It doesn't pay a lot of money, but it is a job. So that created an opening on the board. So here we go. Jack, a Republican, left the board. So the Onslow Republican Executive Committee, they are given the mission of replacing a Republican with another Republican. Now, they had a couple of ways to go about working this process. One was to go back to the, what is the last
All right. The first option
primary?
was to open it up to the public.
Yeah.
And then you had the other option was to go back to the most recent primary and use
And offer
and
to
offer
the,
it to the top, to
to the
the person who came in fourth, because
Yeah.
there was 3 positions open.
fourth place.
Yes.
So you could open it up to that and make that offer it to him or her.
If that person
And
wanted
then
it,
you could
yes.
actually move on down the line and offer it to somebody else.
That's
if you
right.
wanted to. Somebody who ran in the primary who would take the job.
That's correct.
Or you could open it up to the public, and any Republican in Onslow County who's qualified and meets all the other qualifications.
Right.
Resident, yada, 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 yada.
That's what I did in 2019 when we had to replace William Shanahan. We opened it up to the public.
And
So if
then-
you
but-
ran, you were included.
Yeah. Anybody who had already run for office was included, and any other Republican
That's
that
right.
met the minimum qualifications could throw their hat into the ring. And you had a bunch of hats at that time, right?
We had 6
7 or
or
8?
7, I think
6?
it was,
Okay.
about that ones that had previously run that same primary,
Mhm.
and then others that threw their hat into the ring also. So
So
we had a
in-
good turnout.
In this case, the former commissioner, Mark Price,
Yes.
who served an unexpired term of William Shanahan
That's
the last
right.
go round, because Mark was a member of the board, but some years back, but he chose not to run again. Instead, he ran for a seat for the North Carolina House, but he lost.
That's right.
But then in that same election that he lost, a member of the Board of Commissioners
Won a
had
judgeship.
an unexpired term, but
Right.
he won a judgeship. He ran for judge. So that created an opening. I'm trying to give you a little history here. You help me out.
Oh,
when I'm
you're
wrong.
doing great.
He ran and was successful. So that created an opening for a Republican. And the Republican Executive Committee went to the next person in line, or went to
No, we went
not-
open.
went to open at
Right.
that time, and chose former commissioner Mark Price.
Yeah,
to
he was
fill
the top vote getter,
to-
right?
to fill the unexpired term of William Shanahan,
That's
which
correct.
should have been a 2-year term, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
He
so-
had 2 years left on that.
So Mark served that, and then Mark ran for election in November,
That's right, in
and he
2022.
came in fourth in a 3-person race.
That's correct.
Now,
I know it
I'm
sounds
glad
crazy,
I got all
but
that right.
well, they came up with another option at the meeting last night also that they ended up voting on. So there was 3 options. Option was open to the public. The other option was to give it to the first person the 4th runner-up
Mhm.
in I guess it would be first runner-up
First
in the
runner-up.
last election. And then the third option was to go from the last election and considered all those that became runner-ups that did not make it into those seats. So that would put 3 people in there to
Okay.
vote on. The executive committee voted, and the the option that they chose was to go ahead and go with the first runner-up from the last primary, which was Mark. So it was voted on. So Mark is now the replacement to fill the seat for Jack Bright. So congratulations, Mark Price, our new county commissioner.
Glad we got that straight.
Yeah.
One
It's
one
not
of
an easy thing to do.
one of the things that came up, of course, during this last election, and I had talked with outgoing sheriff some months ago,
Uh-huh.
Hans Miller, and he said, "You know what?" I said, "What are you going to do? Your terms, you've decided not to run again.
Right.
What are you going to do when you're a civilian?" Well, I'm going to travel a little bit. He told me. I said, "Cool. Don't blame me. He likes to ride his motorcycle."
Yes, he does.
So he did a cross country stint some years ago on that motorcycle.
That's a lot of
That's
miles.
a lot of riding there.
Mm.
My butt would be hurting forever.
back
and
would
my
be
back
hurting.
would be dead. So anyway, he plans to do that, or said he was planning to do that. And he said, and then in 2024, I might just run for county commission seat.
Well, he can
Okay.
still do that.
That's what we was talking about. Well, when this Jack Bright left, then Hans Miller, I called him and I asked him, and he came on the air with us
Yes, he did.
and said that, yes, I would like to be considered
Hmm.
for that seat. If the executive committee would like to have somebody with experience, nobody can say that Hans Miller doesn't have experience in an executive capacity. Sheriff does a whole lot of things.
Yes, he does.
So that's one of the things that he offered himself up, and the executive committee chose another direction to go. Not against him, but against about the method of selecting the replacement. It wasn't they did not want him. It's just that they chose another method to replace Jack Bright. Right?
That's right. And
Sure.
and you have to remember Jack resigned suddenly.
Yeah.
We didn't have advance notice that
No
2
notice.
months from now, 3 months from now, or whatever, he was going to resign.
No.
And so that's just the way. But here's a little bit of trivia for you.
Uh-oh.
Back in 2017, there was a resolution that was brought forth to the executive committee of the Republican Party to put Onslow County back in with a group of, into a group of other counties, and there's like over 40 of them, that gives the executive committee the right to fill these vacancies on the Board of Education or the county commissioners.
Up until that time,
Up until that time, the
the-
county commissioners did it.
the county, whatever board, county commission or school board, whatever board had a vacancy, the members of the remaining members of that board would choose somebody from the same party. It
That's
still had to be
correct.
from the same party.
That's correct.
So it could be if there had been a Democrat on the county commission, for instance, and 6 Republicans, the 6 Republicans would have had to pick a Democrat to replace
Right.
the Democrat.
Right. Well, I don't know back then how they did that. I don't think
I-
they did it by political party.
I don't think they did either, but today that's what would be required.
That's today is what's
I
required.
don't recall back then. But anyway, with all vacancies up until that time, the remaining members of the Board of Commissioners made that choice. And sometimes people didn't like it. Here's one of the things that I said all along during that time.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm a member of the county commissioners. At that time, it was a 5-person board. And, we've all got an election coming up in a year, 2, 3 years, whatever, right? So we've got this guy over here, and we're going to have to appoint him. Do you really want a really, really, really strong, if you think politics now, think
Mhm.
like I do, think politics instead of think service.
Yes.
Would you really want a very strong person, somebody stronger than you, who might get more votes than you, who might bounce
See,
you off the commission?
There's so many plays in the game. There's so many plays.
So you got to look at it like I do. I think we're turning it over to the Republicans to pick one of their own to go on the county commission or the school board is a better
Yes.
solution.
Well, getting back to the story, 2017, the resolution was brought before the executive committee by a precinct that wrote up the resolution to put us in that category. There's 41 other counties in the state of North Carolina that have that right to pick the predecessor for a vacancy. So we submitted it to our House legislators and our senator for North Carolina, and it went in there. And of course, it ended up going into a committee, and it just sat there, sat there, sat there, sat there. In 2019, before Senator Brown retired, he was able to take that out of committee and put it for a vote. And of course, it was approved. And so, thus, we joined the 41 other counties in North Carolina to have that right to do that. But the author of this resolution, you know who it was? Mark Price.
Really?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. And at that time, he was not a county commissioner and
Mhm.
he was not even considered running. But Mark is so smart when it comes to legalities and resolutions and stuff, So he's a very smart man.
Well, here we go. Full
Yeah.
cycle.
Yes.
And we'll look forward to it. I would assume that one of the things that the folks who were the executive committee who were talking with Mark would say are, do you intend to run
Right.
when
Yes.
when this unexpired term
Yes, I think
expires?
that's already been a question that
So
was answered. But I
that's
have other news from the meeting last night.
okay.
We'll
What's
talk
that?
about it after the
Yeah, let's
commercial.
take a
You want to
break.
take
You're live and local, Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. And we're back. So, tell me about those Republicans. You know, you're one of those people. Tell me what else they were doing last night.
Yeah, well, I don't know if people are aware of this, but there was a bill that was voted on in the U.S. Senate,
Hmm.
and Tom Tillis and Richard Burr voted for the bill. There was a lot of crossing of the lines on this bill vote, and it is about protecting same-sex marriages. In other words, women marrying women, men marrying men, etc.
Hmm.
And there's been a lot of controversy over it. Of course, I've not heard Tom Tillis's reason for voting for this. I've not read the bill, so I don't know it in its entirety. But the Republican Party last night in Onslow County voted to censor Tom Tillis and Richard Burr.
Why? Hey, Onslow County decides they want to do this. Onslow
Yes,
County Republican Party.
yes.
Without
Well,
just because he voted for something that other people, maybe
w-
Democrats, supported.
well,
I don't get it.
the basis of the part of the platform of the Republican Party is that marriage is sacred, is between a man and woman only.
Uh,
So I think there's other counties in the state that were planning on doing the same thing. I find it's never a good thing to do censors because it
no.
sets a precedent.
Yes.
Look how many times Walter Jones voted on stuff that, we're just like, why did he vote on that? Or why didn't he vote on that?
I,
Are you going to censor him every time you disagree with his vote?
yeah. I don't understand it. I don't understand that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's one of the reasons not to be a member of
Well,
a political party. Can't not do it.
I
Not
just
going to do it.
find you can disagree with the way somebody
Sure.
voted, and you can show your displeasure when it comes time to reelect them.
Hmm.
But I think censoring people is the wrong way to go. That's my personal opinion. I will also say that I do believe marriage is between a man and a woman. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm
Absolutely.
not one to place judgment on other people that choose different lifestyles. That's not my place to judge.
No.
There's only one person that you have to worry about making, about judgment, and that's the day you go and meet your maker. But I don't think it's, and the Republican Party to me right now is so distressed and so divided. What are we pushing people out now? Now we're pushing them out because
Yeah.
what? Because they're gay,
Yeah.
or because they may have married interracially?
Uh-huh.
I mean, why are we doing this? I thought we're supposed to be a party of love and forgiving and bring people together. So I don't know. I'm very disappointed in the censor. My opinion, like I said. But like I said, I do believe marriage is between a man and a woman. But I'm not wanting to judge other people's lifestyles. That's their business, not mine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just think, that when you want to be so critical of something like that, you need to look in your own closet. Because we all have something in our closets.
Suppose I disagree with what you do. Am I going to reach out there and try to censor you?
Well, evidently the Republican Party thinks they can.
Yeah. Oh, well, whatever. Good for
Yeah.
them.
Anyway,
Final break here. Let's go ahead and
yes.
take it. Then I got something I want to ask you about because I got confused last night on the internet.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I've been in a confused state this morning already.
You're live and local Real Talk. We'll be right back. Well, I had a couple of callers there. One's dropped off. And good morning, Chris. Is this you?
Yeah, Rayford, good morning. How are you feeling?
I'm hanging in here, sir. Thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. Not sure if Lee's with you this morning or not.
Lee is here.
I'm here, Chris.
Hey, good morning, Lee. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I hope you are too.
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Lee, just a quick question. Reese Across America's this Saturday
Yes.
at Camp Johnson. What time is it that begin with the volunteers?
It's 12 o'clock noon for the program and for the volunteers. Now, if you bought a wreath for a specific grave, like I bought one in my dad's name, then those people are to be there at 10:30 because what they'll do is they're going to check you off their list, give you the wreath, and I imagine you'll probably lay the wreath then. But the rest of the volunteers and ceremonies at noon.
All
That's
right.
what
Well,
I was
that's
told.
exactly what I needed because we got one for Dad, so I wanted to make sure to tell my brothers to be there to do that. So I appreciate your time and help.
Did you order it in his name specifically?
Actually, Lee, somebody did it in
Okay.
Dad's honor.
All right. That's good then. You
so-
should be fine.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Y'all have a
Thank you,
blessed
Chris.
day.
You too, Chris.
You
See you
too.
Saturday.
You take
Take
care.
care.
Guess what I learned from reading a story on the internet last night?
Oh, no.
I'm a
Ray.
CIS male.
A CIS male.
Yeah, a CIS, not CSI, CIS. I was sitting there trying to figure out what it meant. Thought maybe it was an abbreviation for a sissy male.
A sissy male.
Just made no sense. It came from a story about a school board in Pennsylvania where one of its members refused to vote for this guy for president, even though, according to this member, he would have made a great president. But she said she couldn't support him because he was a white CIS male.
And do tell, what is a CIS male?
Well, I resorted to Googling the term.
Oh, no.
I learned that it meant a person who identifies himself as being of the sex that he was born with. In other words, the dude was born a dude and says he's still a dude and he's still white.
Oh.
2 strikes, I guess. The school board member that said she could support the white CIS guy claimed that electing, as she could not support him, electing the only CIS white male on this board, president of this district, sends the wrong message to our community, a message that is contrary to what we as a board have been trying to accomplish. Huh?
So you're a cis.
Excuse the hell out of me for just a minute, but I cannot understand that logic. And I truly hope anyone out there can seriously explain why I'm so out of touch that being born white as a male and identifying as a white male the way I was born is
Right.
suddenly a reason to keep me from filling a position that I'm qualified to hold.
Right.
Y'all got some explaining to do to me, and you're going to have
Gosh.
to do it tomorrow because our time is up.
Why is life so difficult? A cis. You're a cisgender.
I was born a white CIS male.
So what that means is when you came out and the doctor said it's a boy, that's what
That's what I was.
then they got it right.
And they put it on the birth certificate, Caucasian,
Oh my God.
male.
Oh, one correction real quick. When I was talking about that resolution with Mark Price, it was 2015 that it was introduced
that's-
into our party. So
Yeah, Mark
I
was
had
actually on this
s-
commission
20
in
yes.
2019.
he was actually a commissioner when it was actually passed through the state
There
legislature,
you
but
go.
I messed that up. I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
Seems
40
like
lashes.
so long ago.
We'll be back in here again tomorrow. Dr. Rose is going to come in early for us to 7:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And then Representative Greg Murphy.
Yes.
There's some stuff out there dealing with the some money for the military.
Yes.
And we're gonna ask him about those.
We're gonna get some
about
money.
that. Get some
Right.
answers. Not all of the money that falls under this particular authorization act goes to the military.
That's right. Yes.
Some of it goes to other areas, and that's not bad. I'm just saying some of it goes to other areas. So we'll talk about that tomorrow when we get back in here. And I guess Kelly is back tomorrow.
Yes, she is.
I may still come in. I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, I think you've done very well.
If I
How do
can-
you feel?
I feel pretty cool. If I
Yeah.
can get my chauffeur to bring me again tomorrow, that'd be great.
Well, if not, one of us can come pick you up.
I can walk.
No, you're not
The walking
walking.
would do me
No,
good.
no, that's too far for you to walk.
Okay. You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM WSME. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe out there. Fox News Break is next. Coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, the Daily D's with
He
Rick
is
Dees.
funny.
Oh, he is
He is a
funny.
funny
and
man.
He's so full of good stuff. His music-wise, it's hard to top him, okay?
Oh, he's
And then
funny.
this afternoon at 3 o'clock, Hollywood will be joining us, and maybe he's going to bring some Hollywood style of weather with him instead of
I
this
won't tell you.
northeastern
He's
New
playing
York
some good
style.
Christmas
Yeah,
music.
he is too.
He's
Well,
got it
It
rocking.
kind of fits in.
Yes.
Temperatures up to 37 degrees now. We'll see you in the morning.
Whew.
Be safe out there.